I've talked about one very impressive study by John Hattie. He collected data for years where each of his data points was itself the result of another study that took a long time. That's a lot of work. I want to explain to you how MOOCs offer the opportunity to do all these studies much more quickly and efficiently. The first thing to know is that every single click on the major platforms is tracked. If you were to pause the video now, they would know it. If you're watching this accelerated, they know it as well. They also know how often a student posts on the forum or how many times they tried quiz questions. All this data is analyzed, and some of the smartest brains in the world actually try to make sense out of it. The big question, is what works best for teaching online, and maybe even what works best for teaching. A video of a talking head, Beamer slides with an insert of the instructor, or maybe without the insert. Some guy's paper cutouts? Who knows? This data is analyzed, and it's not a sample size of n equals 20, but it's more like n equals 2 million. I'll try to give you a flavor of what is already possible. Let's start with a concrete situation. Let's say you have an ad for a cool project to change the world. You want people to help you. So you'll write a flyer that says, "Want to change the world? Come and join me at this day and place." You know that that's not enough to attract people, so you want to add a hook before. You don't know for sure what to put in. You think maybe the line "want cookies" or "want pizza" might attract people. But what will grab people's attention and attract people to your project? You don't know, and in the real world, you won't know unless you try both in parallel and see afterwards which one is most successful. How do you do that? Well, by interviewing the people who show up. This takes time, and again, it doesn't scale well. Let's say now you're Google. You literally make millions of dollars of revenue per hour, most of it through people clicking on ads in the sidebar. One of your employees thinks that a particular shade of green will definitely help highlight the ads, but not too much so that it doesn't bother the users. You, as Google, want to try it because you know there is a lot of money there, but you are afraid of changing something that works pretty well already. So what you can do is to pick a random 10% of the users of a random small country, say Belgium, and show to them that new green shade. And then you can compare those users to other users where the experiment was not performed. Maybe you can also pick another country, say the Netherlands, and do the same experiment with another color, say orange. Or you can try changing the size of the ads, or all at the same time fitting each user into their own highly individualized blend of experiments. As long as you can extract meaningful data, why wouldn't you do it? Well, that's what Google does. Every time you go on Google, hundreds of experiments are actually performed on you. The page you get for a particular search is slightly different from the page offered to anyone else for the same search, and they try to optimize the page for you. This is called A/B testing and is used extensively to optimize the web. I know it sounds silly to talk about this for education, but I don't think it really is silly. Many blackboards are dark green because some tests were performed a long time ago and people figured out this was better for the eyes. You can see the similarity with Google's experiment there. Many more studies have been done since in education to try to improve other factors, maybe more meaningful than just the blackboard color. But this is slow and requires lots of manual work. Again, similar studies can be done in a MOOC space, but actually much more is possible, much faster and much more efficiently. For instance, you can alter the material presented to the students in very subtle ways and see what has an effect and what does not. So let's say you split your class in two and measure how effective it actually is to start a class with a little preview of the problem that you want to solve at the end. This could be done effortlessly by the teacher or someone doing educational research. The technology to perform these studies exists and is well understood because it was used extensively in other industries before and is now being applied to education. Some conferences are starting on these topics and releasing lots of insight into what works and what does not. It's hard to argue when someone comes with a study conducted on millions of students. You ask for a follow-up, and 6 months later, they come back with that follow-up. This is tremendously accelerating for education and very exciting.
So I brought my friend through to look at the house. She agrees it looks great. I'm liking this place. I'm thinking this is the one. It's in the location I was looking for. It's in the school district I'm looking for. The neighborhood looks great. I love that I'm close to work. I also like the layout. There were some things I did notice. There is some issues on the soffit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put that into the contract to say that they have to fix that, or have a seller concession to have X amount of dollars taken back from the agreed upon price so that I can fix it. It's not just cosmetics. I need a functioning boiler. Other than that, the place is very sound. Aside from the little changes that I would make to it, this might be the one. On that, I think I'm going to put an offer in. We're going to do all the paperwork up. You know, it's legally binding, which is a little bit intimidating. The other thing is I had to write a huge check, huge in my mind I should say, and that's part of the whole process. It's kind of like saying, yeah, I am serious about putting an offer in, so here's some money. It comes back to me at the end. That's not lost money. Still, I've got to have those funds available right up front, even just to put an offer in. So it's been a little bit of a waiting game. I made the offer and the sellers come back with a couple counters and I've countered. It's been a long process and I'm so excited. They accepted my offer. So I have to go get some money and I'm going to AmeriCube. I'm going to give Rita a call and say that my offer got accepted, and I'm going to set up an appointment to go and talk with her. I have to get a home inspection done. I put that into the contract that my offer was contingent upon having a passing home inspection, so it's kind of like my buyout clause. That's a nice little relief. That's nice to know that's still kind of that safety net. Once that's all squared and the home inspection comes back and everything's perfect, or at least acceptable, we move forward and I have to apply for my loan. And if everything goes through, I get the keys to the kingdom. The place is mine. Just met with Rita, brought a whole pile of documents. She asked for quite a few things, so it took me a little bit of time to gather them all up, but I scraped them all together, so now she's got everything she needs. She pre-approved me right on the spot, so that was great. And now there's a whole bunch of things that are going to happen.
Once the borrower has been pre-qualified, they go out and select a home. They'll bring in a contract of sale. The contract of sale will be reviewed by the mortgage executive to make sure everything's in line, all the signatures are in check, and any unusual conditions that may be involved with the sale can be met. Once that has passed, then the application starts, the back office application process starts. And there's a number of things that take place. The first thing is the appraisal of the property. The appraisal is an estimation of the fair market value of what the property is actually worth. The next step is a title search. We're trying to determine to make sure that all property taxes have been paid and are current, and all prior liens that may have been placed against the property have been satisfied. Homeowners insurance is a protection not only for the homeowner, but for the lender as well. And we do require on all of our mortgages that the homeowner keep insurance coverage that covers property damage and liability damage that may occur against the owner. Once that is completed, then we can go on the next step, which is a clear to close to finish out the process.
Now I'm just waiting for AmeriCube to send me that commitment letter and the closing date. Once that's done, keys are mine.